What is up guys, Kayn here. So you want to play Stronghold. I myself do not play this faction, but I asked a couple of people around for their tips to make this video. So most of this formation will be advice from other players and also some insights about the future. Also some adjustments that the faction had, comparisons and potentially something good. So to start, this faction had a lot of ups and downs. Some expectations were high but experienced a low. However, with the release of Troll, this faction has pretty much risen to one of the top-ish factions in the global servers of the game. It is really hard to say whether they are the best or average since every server is different, and everyone is experiencing different things, have different emblems, and so on. The formation at the current stage of the game is hard to really talk about. Everyone actually plays Stronghold in almost every way possible, because either you will place quite a few Stronghold units and buff your troll, or you will place some other buffs and still increase its power further. Quite a lot of people suicide Berserker and Spartan just to buff the troll and get it closer to its rampage point. Others just focus more on the defensive slash domain damage type, or safer route than just sacrificing your units. Really, many ways of how you can play it. To start from the units, Berserker. He was changed from the Chinese servers. In there, he was 4x and quite useless. So not many people actually invested into him. However, for us, he is 1x, which means he will survive longer than a 4x can, and some good potential of actually being a pretty strong damage dealer. Or so we think. It is only speculation, but 1x units are quite good at what they are doing. And Berserker is built to be a tank killer, so we will see what happens whenever his weapon releases. Behemoth, now this SSR unit has some pretty decent metas. He's a game changer in many teams he's put on, mainly due to his stun, which can proc right after the frontline clashes, about a couple of seconds later. It requires to be really invested to see good results. Behemoth is probably the top 2 best tanks currently in the game until the URs come out. It is pretty much a contest between Black Dragon and Behemoth. Most other SR or R units are very hard to comment because they will be going through quite a lot of phases. They can be very strong, they can be very weak, they will receive a couple of updates and become strong again. One point that I would like to note is that Rock, the Thunderbird, will clash change into a Charger, which does insane area damage to anything that is very close to him. It could potentially one-shot backline units with it even. So if you're planning to play Stronghold further into the game, make sure Rock is decked out, and I am sure you will not regret it when time comes, especially even with assassin emblems. Cyclops and Orc. They both turn into tanks during class change, but I did not really find anything that was strictly overpowered about these. Not many players use them after their class changes, which kind of tells me that either they were very weak or they potentially were outscaled. So what this can tell you is that they could just be some sort of a short-term meta. So if you would be willing to invest into them, I would not suggest throwing a lot of diamonds onto them. At least that would be my deduction. But they can be changed or tweaked or updated or something else. So in such a case, my opinion towards this would be voided. The future of this formation, it is also questionable whether it will be similar to that of Chinese or stronger, and what I mean by that is on our global servers, Stronghold can be one of the top teams. Troll has some wonky interactions in the Chinese servers that were patched out in global, making the troll a little bit better. It's nothing too major nor game breaking, I doubt it was a buff either. It is just some faster casting or stuff like this. They removed the goblin throw that usually the trolls did before the domain procced. Unfortunately, I do not have a video replay or a picture of such happening. And because of that, I believe his interactions have become a little bit better, at least with his domain. From what I have noticed in the Chinese servers, Kilgore has pretty much died out, meaning almost no stronghold has been played. but it came back with the release of their second generation faction leader. But again, it had its ups and downs. I believe Behemoth's weapon coming out will be a huge buff to the Stronghold faction, and Behemoth could even be unkillable. So it is one of those spikes that may come and go. I am not certain that Stronghold would face similar things as the Chinese servers. However, as strong as Troll may be, particular compositions can in fact get rid of Troll fairly easily, meaning more than one DPS being on the Troll, which can be Devil, Dark Knight, or even Evil Sorcerer's domain. So things like these should be taken a closer eye to determine how strong this faction can be versus some others. From the champion units, the second UR of Stronghold is a caster unit that has a lot of buffs for your entire field, some DPS and some debuffs. They have always been in the Stronghold formations and most likely won't be taken out. Their effects are really hard to see, so it's very hard to comment what may be strong or not in him. The third UR is a charger with skills that will get him into the enemy's backline. Massive damage dealer and ability to jump to the enemy backline after the frontline clashes is actually quite strong and could potentially be very menacing with our assassin emblems, getting majority of the backline one-shotted or killed by this charger. But all is left to be seen. Emblems, I think out of all the factions, the main DPS of this faction, the Troll, does not necessarily require the Assassin emblems, because he already has a lot of critical value. Every little counts, but it is one of the most expensive emblems to upgrade. There have been people who use Jealousy as the emblem of choice on the Troll to make some of his basic attacks do more damage. And since he has a lot of critical value, and I think around 3000 during his rampage, Jealousy may have a decent effect, but I prefer to always have the bonus damage, rather than a percent chance to proc. That is just me though. For the tanks, I think it is the usual Successor's legal principles, or Gear of Time. For supports, perhaps Everlasting, or another damage emblem that would fit your particular formation. Against your own enemies, there is a variety of them, and if you decide to not use the Assassin emblem, the choice should be in regards to how your field is set up. So like most factions, now towards the cost of it. This faction has no SR+, so on that point they are pretty safe and cheaper. But they have two SSRs that may potentially require to be upgraded. Behemoth will require to be maxed, which would be roughly 160,000 diamonds, just from scratch, to be 6-star and 5-star awakened. Berserker requires to be upgraded too, but unsure if it's very important, until people test and him becoming an overpowered DPS. So we will still add his cost as 6-star and 5-star awaken onto the price, which will then be 320,000 or so diamonds, maybe more, maybe less, just rough numbers. And then you have two more URs, with the third coming last. Puts them about 520,000 diamonds roughly, and 620 if you want to add the third one too. Both SSRs have class changes, but Behemoth remains to be used as a tank, while Berserker is class changed and used in the main formation. Fully developed being 6-star, 6-star awaken, and 6-star double awaken. I am not sure if people will want a full cover-up of this, but the full price will be about 800,000 diamonds. And uncertainty what place this faction would hold, but it did not hold the top spots for long either. But this can either be the same or can potentially make the formation stronger just because of that little tweak that the Troll had. Weapon costs are also not added into these equations, and if you want for the SSRs to receive their 5th skill, which is a huge buff, you will require them to be 6 stars and their awakens as well. So the costs are always going to be pretty high for formations who have more than just one SSR. Anyways guys, that's pretty much it for this video. Hope this helps you out for the now and the future. Take care and stay safe.